Are you standing at the crossroad of your career, not knowing what to do? Or are you at the moment trying to think whether you are fit as a leader to make yourself another level up in your career? If this is what you have been thinking, welcome on board and a very good afternoon to everyone from Body, Mind, Soul magazine over here. Yeah, so make sure that you are sharing this out together with all your friends who are currently standing at the crossroad of their career, not knowing what to do. Why? Because today is all about take your career into your own hands together with Pascal Dricot, a very dear friend of us as well, all the way from Europe. And I'm sure we are having in different time zones. So let's see later, we will check with him, what's the time over there, where is he live from? So do one thing with me. If you are watching this together with me, make sure that you share it out, click the share button of this live talk out so that we can together with Body, Mind, Soul, we can impact life positively with more people, not just you, me, but with also all your friends as well. Anything that you want to ask or you have any questions about your career and stuff like that, do come and check it out with Body, Mind, Soul. And also a very welcome to all those who are currently on YouTube. If you are watching us for the very first time, this is also the very first time that Body, Mind, Soul switched our live from not just on Facebook, but we also live simultaneously on YouTube on Body, Mind, Soul magazine channel as well. So how is everyone doing? I want to hear from all of you. Where are you watching this? Drop your hello while I wait for more people. Again, if you are standing at a crossroad of your career and not knowing what to do, or you just want to hear from someone who used to be in a top management level, how they actually function, why they think what they think, why they do what they do when you don't think it makes sense at all. We do have that kind of situation, isn't it? Do we have anyone that echo to this? Like your management or your boss asks you to do something that you can't even think of. Why you ask me to do this when I feel it's a waste of time? I believe Pascal will be able to share with us more later. Hello, hi, hello, hi Celine, thank you for your heart shape, ping, ping, ping. So today we are all about take your career into your own hands with Pascal Dricot, all the way from Europe. And Pascal, he used to be he was a former acting vice president of Siemens Indonesia, and currently he is self-employed. He is managing director of the Golden Space Europe, as well as life coach, if I'm not mistaken. So let us, warm our palms up. And this is what we always do. And it's time to bring up Pascal. So make sure that, you are ready and you have already clicked the share button out to let more people to join us on this very beautiful afternoon where we have go through a lot. Yeah, Malaysia at this point of time, don't know how many rounds of lockdown. Yeah, so it's time to really think about a big chunk of our life, which is career, that play a very important role in our life as well. So let us warm up our palms. All right, this is the act that I always do before I bring out our guest. So let clap, 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 and I'll bring Pascal out. Hello, Pascal.
Good afternoon, good morning, depending where you are.
Well, so what is the time zone over there? Where are you from now?
Well, I'm in Vienna at the moment, so it's 9 o'clock in the morning. It's still okay, yeah. So it's not like it's 5 o'clock or something like that. It's already in the day, sun is shining.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you look very fresh. Not too early for you.
No, I'm used to wake up early actually. So I'm more a morning person instead of an evening person.
Night owl. Yeah. So we have Celine, clap, 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 that will warm you up. And also, I would like to let all the audience know if you have any questions or any things that you wish to, ask Pascal, you can do is just type it into the comment box. Make sure that you are watching this live on Body Mind Soul magazine as well as or Body Mind Soul magazine on YouTube. Then all your comments will be able to reflect on the screen. If you are watching a watch party, I won't be able to see your questions. Okay, so Pascal, maybe you can share with us. Okay, I have someone over here. Yes, I was in similar situation too. Don't get why management wants to do things in a particular way. Okay, so I'll hold it for Pascal to share with us, because Pascal, you have been a normal employee, and then you move your way up into a top level management employee as well, and now you are self-employed. So Pascal, maybe you can share with all our audience here a little bit of your stories, what inspire to talk about take your career into your own hands.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like you said, I saw, of course, a lot of employees. I had to do with a lot of employees, as you mentioned, colleagues always, but also as my team, and also the management. I saw during the 18 years I was in this corporate, I saw a lot of dramas, let me say it that way. So I saw a lot of frustrations from employees who wanted to climb up, who wanted to go to the next level, where they had the feeling they cannot, or they are not listened. I had the experience from management who were frustrated, who was put aside once they got 55, 60. So I was always fascinating, not about the organization as is, but about the whole employees, what the behavior and how companies are actually dealing with this, as well as leadership. Because in those 17, 18 years, I had quite a lot of different managers with each one their own style. So I had managers who were like very group oriented and who wanted to promote me. I had other management who were very thinking about themselves and who even wants to pull me down. So I always learned as well from, okay, how this manager is actually dealing with the team, and what kind of things I want to take over once I become manager. That was at the beginning I took up. And of course, also what kind of behavior I really don't want to do towards my team. Yeah. And because this was such a big part of me, and thanks to the Golden Space, of course, where I learned even more to understand myself, then I decided okay, this is more important than also focusing on the technical part, also focusing on everything which is around, of course. So I decided to become self-employed. And like you said at the beginning, yes, I'm a life coach in the meantime. So I'm actually helping employees. I'm helping managers to live their dream. So to live their highest potential. Yeah.
So I believe, your story, we can split it into two parts. One is when you are still working in a corporate and under a company, and another one we can later go into when you yourself is managing your own company or your own business. Okay, so why don't we just start off with working in a company? How was it for you, like from someone from the West and being appointed to work in an Asia country in Indonesia? Because I read that your profile, you were your last position was the acting vice president of Siemens in Indonesia. So how was the story around there?
I was always my whole life. I was not a person who born in the city and stays in the city till I passed out of my body, right? So always from the beginning, even after university, I moved towards Siemens in Belgium, which was already 120 kilometers from my hometown. So even at that time, a lot of persons who were at the same university, they said I'm quite mad. I'm quite insane that I go each day driving like 1.5 hours one direction and 1.5 hours the other direction, right? And you actually point a very good thing, because you said at the beginning, some people want to understand why others are behaving, right? So that was the same with me. After a couple of years in a region, I wanted to understand why headquarters or something acting like they act. So I wanted to see it from my side, because in life, it's very easy to finger point, right? It's very easy to judge someone, even if you haven't done that. And I always say, you only can make an own opinion out of it if you did it yourself. And then
if you
start, of course,
experience it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because then you really start to understand also the other side. So I went to headquarters because I wanted to understand from why are things happening like they are, right? And of course, I understood then the other side as well. And also there I had contact with a lot of regions. So I was always international. I had to do a lot with Americas. But yes, going to Indonesia was a very interesting part. And it was, of course, a cultural change. And one of the tips or one of the things I can say is the more you connect with the persons who live there, so the local, the faster you will also understand and the faster you will also be integrated. And this is what we try to do. So of course we had European friends, but we also wanted to get more and more close with people who are living in Jakarta, Indonesians, right? And even today, even I'm 2.5 years back, we still have, of course, a lot of friends in Indonesia, old colleagues, which you build up a trusting relationship, right? Yeah.
Beautiful. We have quite a lot of comments over here. Master, hello, Pascal, Christina, and dear family. Lots of love and light to all. Have a great and blessed day. Hardship to you also, Master. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have another question. What can we do if we have conflicts with management style with bosses? We at the operational level and are more detail oriented, but bosses at management level prefers things to go chop fast. So do you want to address this, Pascal, now, or you wish to share more stories of Yeah, okay, so let us just go there.
Yeah, again, it's you have to see, of course, the two sides. And one of the important thing is that like it was mentioned, it often happens that the management, because they are not so deep anymore in the operational, they cannot understand all the issues there. So it is very important, May, what you say is that you really speak up also, and that you tell your management and that you try that they understand what really are the issues that you have. And also what the possible consequences are if they make a certain decision. This is something which they sometimes don't understand. And it is important to also put it in a certain summary so that they also can do something with it. So one of the first things is to find out how is the behavior pattern from your manager. Is it a person who wants to have details? Is it a manager who actually loves family, who is more on the family point of view? Is it a person who is more intuitive? So you need to understand, because I mean you have a lot of types of manager, right? There is this one split up in the 4 types with the colors, right? The blue, red, yellow, and green. So you can find out first is from what kind of manager is my manager. If your manager is very a blue type, that means that he's very interested in facts and numbers, then you only can have a communication with him if you also give a kind of facts and numbers. So then you also can go in this direction and say from, okay, the consequence of this action, or if you go in this direction, it would have an effect on this and that and that. Again, facts and figures based. Right? And if it's a complete other person, then you can go into intuitive mode, right? You can go in the feeling mode. So you need to understand what kind of manager do I have.
And a lot of times,
yes,
Pascal, please go ahead.
And another thing you can do is sometimes if your own manager is not listening and you really don't have an approach to this person, then you can have a look who are the stakeholders from this manager, because mostly kind of a project is not only one person who is involved. And then you can try the other managers who are also involved. You can also try to give information to them, because sometimes it's easier to reach them, and then they can also point it out to the other management. So not only in one direction, you also can involve others who are part of it, and then you can try to speak up what you want to say towards them.
Okay, so May Guan is saying, true, yes, more towards facts and figures that works, and use the breach. Exactly. And Pascal, while you are sharing, a lot of times when we are working in an environment, I recall my time when I was still working in a company. What I did not do was really speaking up. We can always have coffee breaks, lunch breaks, and we talk about how terrible a policy is, how bad this action is, it doesn't serve a purpose, it's wasting my time, blah, 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 blah. It's like, in a way, you are kind of like gossiping behind your bosses or your managers. But one thing I noticed, and I feel, I really didn't do, is I did not speak it out with a more solid way, like what you have said, really understand how your management or your manager function. And then from there, perhaps you can suggest. And a lot of times we will, in a way, because of our own fear of our own thought, like what you say, there is consequences of your action, right? You speak up and you take some actions, there are consequences. And a lot of time I feel what happened to me was I was too afraid of what if, they are not happy with me? What if they are not happy with me voicing out? What if they think I'm too loud as a subordinates rather than a fellow person who just follow whatever instructions that they give? So Pascal, from your experience, you come from two sides of the coins. You were once an employee, and what makes you make that decision that you want to go into a management level?
Well, for me, it was again developing the team, right? So that was my main why that I wanted to become a manager, is that I really could take my team and inspire my team and empower my team so that they become they also can grow, right? This is what.
So you love empowering your team members. You love inspiring your team. Okay.
I even said if at a certain moment my employee some years later becomes my leader, right? So my boss, let me say that way, then why not, right? So it's at the end, if someone is very good, why not that this person can grow and that they can have another position. So but what you mentioned to speak up, it's of course you need to be sometimes tactical, right? If you want to give like a feedback which is maybe for this person received as negatively, and if this person is a manager, then I would suggest that you do it one-to-one, right? That you don't do it in a group, right? Because if you do it in a group, this person, of course, can feel attacked, and then it can be, depending the behavior of the person, it can be that this person, of course, reacts very harsh, right? So this kind of things, you also need to feel, right? It can be it's not a good moment to give feedback to a manager, right? So you also need to ask this. You can ask if you want to, if there's really something which bothers you, right, about your management. You always can ask, when do you have time that I can give feedback, or is it okay if we have like a feedback session? Do you want to have feedback from my point of view about you? So you already can ask it. If this person, of course, say no, I don't want to have feedback from you. Okay, yeah, this person don't want to have feedback from you, right?
And you wouldn't take it personally, would you?
No, because it's not you, right? You want to give feedback, so yeah, you cannot change others, right? So you only can change yourself, and then by changing yourself, others will react differently. But so this is the first thing you can do. On the other hand, it's also good that you ask feedback. So that you go to your manager and you say okay, it would be really great if you can give me feedback about my strengths, about my things where I can improve. When would it be a good time for you to give this feedback? Because the thing is, you need to give also the manager time to think of. Of course, if you ask I want that you give me now feedback, mostly the manager will not say it's not a good moment. So mostly it can be that say, okay, I give you feedback, and then the manager is just saying something. But he will not reflect because he has not the time to reflect. So it's better if you say from, okay, when can we sit together, when it's a good time that you can give me feedback. And then this manager mostly will also reflect and have a thought and from, okay, what can I say, right? Yeah. And then, of course, the feedback is a complete different level. Yeah.
So, Pascal, how does this manner or this suggestions that you suggested, it in a way is taking our career into our own hands? How does it link with what you wanted to share?
I mean, there's some things which if I reflect how I grow right into my career. So the most important thing is really to speak up, and this goes in all directions. It also goes in the direction that if you're not so happy with your current position, or if after 3-5 years you really like your position, but you have the feeling it's now time to go to the next step because you want to go more in sales, you want to go more in management, whatever direction it is. This you need to tell everyone who needs to know. That means that you need to say to your management, I want to go in this direction. You need to speak it up to the human resources if you have a human resource department. Because in most of the bigger companies, they have so many projects, they have so many programs. So at the moment they know, then they can act. If they don't know, they cannot act. It's impossible for a manager to know what your employees wants to do. You only can find out by talking to them, right? And yes, most of the companies have like a 1 yearly conversation with the employees, but that's it. That's not enough. You cannot wait like 1 year before you speak up and say, I want to change, right? So those kind of things.
What do they call the 1 year yearly assessment, right?
Yeah.
And and I noticed, you know what, Pascal, what you said is correct, because I noticed a lot of my friends who are still in the corporate world, they really wait for 1 year during that assessment. Only then they voice out what they want, like performance review or assessment or training in needs. They only wait until that moment. They feel like that is the only opportunity and window for them to speak up. But here you're encouraging all of us to speak up at any point of time. You feel you need to move forward. You feel that you might want to change a different direction. And by speaking up is one step, and the first step of taking our own career into our own hands.
Yeah, because I mean, even during that time, if you have this period for this performing review, right? So like me, I had at a certain moment, I had 30 direct reports. That means that during this 2 or 3 weeks, you're having conversations with 30 different persons. So of course you pick up all this the feedback what they give, right? But it's very condensed. And yes, of course, we had then meetings where we discussed the outcoming of all these employees. But for me, again, it's not enough to point it out there, because for me, it's much better if you point it out much earlier, because then the management already can think about it. And then, of course, you repeat it, and you even can then ask during this performance review, what's happened between. And what you also can ask is, I mean, if you want to go to a management function, for instance, and if the managers say you're not ready for it, then don't just accept like this. Then directly ask back, okay, what are the things I need to improve before I can become manager? And then you can even ask further, what kind of trainings I can follow so that I can achieve. Yeah. Or you can challenge him. You can say, okay, if I would improve in this and that, am I then ready for a management function or not? And then you can also 4 or 6 months later, you really can sit together with him and then say okay, what is my improvement? So how do you see I improved exactly on those steps, which were at that time, those blockages to not become a manager, right? And also one tip for me is don't give up. So I wanted to go to Germany when I was in Belgium. And I asked 4 years long, each 6 months, the same question. When I can go to Germany, when I can go to Germany, when can I go to Germany, right? So because yeah, sometimes you want to have it directly, but you also need to understand that sometimes it's not possible. Yeah, sometimes management also wants that you grow in your current position. Management also wants that, of course, good employees stays for a certain time. Yeah, because each time there is a change, they also need to find, of course, a successor and so on. It's like a new phase up. Skills, they lose skills because this person is gone. So there's a lot of strategies and a lot of politics behind as well. So sometimes you need to be patient, but be persistent, right? Always ask. Yeah. And at a certain moment, they will do, because they know you are very certain. They also feel it then. Yes, they also feel he really wants certain.
To. Yeah. Okay, we have May over here. At least we open for discussion, win-win situation. Florence also. I don't wait for performance review to voice out. I would initiate meeting with my GM and speak to her and share any concern and what I want. Well, that's really what you are sharing with us, isn't it, Pascal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also ask for being in other projects. Like, because normally you have a certain skill and you have a certain task. If you want to grow, normally you need also to be aware of other tasks. If you're, for instance, in after sales, then it's good to understand also what the normal sales behavior is. It's good to understand what the buying position is doing. It's good to understand what HR is doing and to have a bigger picture. So you always can ask, aren't there projects which are not 100% in my scope where I can be part of? And normally bigger companies, they always have a kind of a project, because they have always kind of strategy things that they want to change. And then it's very good if you can enter in this kind of programs and projects. Yeah. Because you
kind
learn,
of like expose yourself to different departments,
exactly.
and you have an overview of everything. You learn a little bit of basics, the functionalities and the operations of it. Give us a bigger perspective that you are talking.
It's also about visibility, because for deciding, you have to understand that for deciding if someone wants to go to another level, they're gonna ask the whole managers if they know this person, right? Because it cannot be that only one person is deciding to put this person on a certain level. So they're gonna ask all the managers on that same level, do you know this person? And if no one knows this person, if no one had to do with this person, then you don't have good papers to become this position. If of course you were in projects, if you were in the project for other department, and this manager knows you and this manager likes you, and then you have like 4 or 5 other managers which likes you, which started to respect you and to see what your skills are, then the moment you get they put you on a table and say, could that be a possible manager, or could that be a possible person at this role? All the other managers will say, yeah, I see, I like this person.
I see potential.
Yes.
Okay, understand. So it's more about being proactive and involved in other projects or any task that is not really in your job scope. But if you are aiming to become or go into the management level, this is something, small little steps that you can take so that you can build your career along the way. Yeah. So okay. So for all the audience, if you have any other questions or any other things, any other situations that you wish Pascal can share a little bit of his insight with you, type it into the comment and send it to us, and I'll pull it out right away. Another thing is we will be having like a short little game where we will throw out a scenario and just get Pascal to answer, or suggest us what would be his action, or what would his advice be. But Pascal, how about your transition of taking your own career in your own hands from being employed in a I would say multinational company, an international company, and to going into your own way? So what is that tips, or what is the thing that you did to switch your path?
Yeah,
just like that.
Okay. So this depends, of course, your personality. The thing I did, not so many people are doing it because it's quite abrupt. So I just decided from one day to the other, I quit the company and I just start my own business, or I build up the Golden Space Europe, let me say it that way. Most of the people are not doing this, right? So most of the people are building up the business while they are still working in the company, which is actually a more smoother, subtle way, because you can slowly build up what you want to do. For me, that is not the way I'm doing, because if I do something, I do something like for 130, 150%. So I cannot do two things for 150%. So that's why I'm more a person from, okay, I cut one thing and I start with the other thing, right? What is definitely the key if you're self-employed, the key is definitely networking. So because if you build up a company, no one knows you. Even if you have friends, even if you have family, that does not mean that the family and your friends, A, supporting you, B, are your customers. Yeah, maybe you're opening something where they are not customers. That does not mean that they're gonna refer other persons. So I've noticed that a lot of people, because I knew, of course, a lot of people, in the first years, they are like more looking at you instead of supporting you and really taking action. So you need to build up really your new potential customers. So the best thing is to really go and network communities. And you can have a look, of course, into your own country, what kind of network communities there are. I'm in Austria, but it's a worldwide and the Business Network International in BNI. And it helped me a lot because it gives you the possibility to directly find either multipliers or also customers, right? And this is something you need, because you need to build up. So networking. So don't put a lot of time in, because a lot of people are saying, okay, first I need to have a beautiful website. Then, okay, I need to have beautiful business cards. I need to have this. I need to have a video. I need to have that and that and that and that. Yeah, you can have everything. And yes, it's helping you. But this is not the start, right? The only beginning is that you have customers. That's it. And also without a website, without business cards, without everything, you still can have customers, right? Of course, the bigger you get, the more you need, and then you need a CRM system and, but you don't need it from the beginning. So you can start you can skip that and say from, okay, I just focus. If you have a LinkedIn page, if you have a Facebook page or whatever, it's already enough, right, to start. And then you build up to have your customers and ask them that they give you testimonials, right? This is very important. So all the new customers that you have, ask them that they give you testimonials, that they refer you, because you are dependent of them, right? Yeah, because they help you then to grow your business as well.
But Pascal, I mean, thank you so much for the tips about, how to actually start your own business. And we have Florence over here saying, yes, makes sense, which I believe Florence is really entirely, agree with what you have said. I think this one, I need you to read it out.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Very good.
It's Dutch. Yeah.
How do you read this?
Oh, yeah, heel goed.
Heel goed. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, but Pascal, we just rewind it a little bit. I believe, there might be someone out there who is now watching or watching it later, who are currently, at a brim of not sure what or how should they do with their career. So, when I was given this topic, when you suggested, okay, this is the title I want, take your career into your own hands, it makes me, Pascal, to also reflect on the word career. So what I realized, little did I know, but because through this chat that we are doing, I realized I associate career very, very uniquely and differently. To me, career means I work in a company. That is career. So I don't see what I'm doing now is career. So when I realized that, it's giving me like a really bizarre, like a lot of fireworks inside me. that's how I see career. But to me, once I realize and reflect this, what I wanted to say is career is something that you are doing and you're working. To me personally, is you're doing and working with a lot of love, and you enjoy doing what it is, and it helps you to grow. That is career to me now, after I reflected. But when you were at that point to 100% cut off a very good pay job, I'm sure, a very comfortable and something that you like because you're already an acting vice president. You are building teams, and I'm sure you're building lots of teams and inspire them, empower them. What is that thing that really make you, okay, so this is it. I think my heart have changed, my calling have changed. I want to do something else, and I'm just going to resign, say thank you to my ex company, and I'm going to start. So what really make you make that decision?
Okay.
I feel that is very important.
Well, you have to see that way. I always thought that I worked quite a lot on myself. So also in Germany, I had interested in meditation and breathing exercises. We followed all kinds of courses. And I thought that I'm actually a very stable person who has control on everything, right? I only found out after I followed this, the Golden Space, this Awaken the Divine You, I only found out that actually my heart was completely closed on a certain way. And I noticed that I changed so tremendously within 7 days in how I behave. I got much less stress because I was kind of a workaholic. And I had a lot of stress. I also got quite fast triggered. So like in traffic jam, I got very fast nervous, staying in the queue at the airport. And this kind of things, it all changed me. But what's more important, it's also changed how I was. And it's changed my completely behavior towards others. That means that they also completely changed their behavior. So suddenly, with managers where I had sometimes difficulties to communicate, suddenly it opened completely, and they start listening to me. They start respecting me because I changed from the inside. And it had such a dramatic effect on my whole business that I realized that, yes, during the 17 years, I built up a lot of skills. I followed a lot of programs. I followed management courses. So I used a lot my brain to develop. What I haven't done during this whole time, or almost nothing, is to also open my heart and have a connection with my inner self. And the key to really success is the combination of those two. Of course, you need to have wisdom. Of course, you need to have knowledge. Of course, you need to have some skills. Yes. But if you only have those, then it's like you're driving with a very powerful engine, but your handbrake is still on. So you also need to loosen your handbrake. And this is what you do if you start working on yourself. Because sometimes you have belief systems and patterns from your childhood. Everyone has. Because as a child, you listen to your environment, you listen to the news, you listen to your parents, and everything what those environment says to you, you take it for granted. You say, okay, this is a reality. Okay? But that does not mean that this is the reality. This is just another point of view from people you trust. And if you start working on yourself, you start to find out that this reality is only one possibility. And you can remove that so that this one possibility, this one programming that you were, that it suddenly opens up and that you are capable of doing much more. And it has an effect then on your whole life. And this is what happened to me. And because this effect was so tremendous, so huge, I directly said, okay, this I want to transport to other persons. And I know that I cannot do that in Siemens. Of course, I can develop my team, I can do that. But yeah, my function is, of course, another. My function is to stay on have keynote speeches, Industry 4.0, something like that, right? So that was my main task. Yeah. And I said, okay, this is not what I can do, because I really want to open it completely persons. Yeah, this is what I always say, I want that everyone lives the highest potential. So that's why I said okay, I need to cut, and I really need to start having a business, which is the golden space. And this is what we do. We transform life, right? And yeah, so this is actually the main reason. And honestly, if each time I have a private session and I see and they see that they change, and they change, you can change very fast, right? It's sometimes only one word in your life is a trigger to change your whole life. And we are like actually those catalysts. We are those who open up the person. So with one word or with one feeling or with one energy that we change, suddenly the future of this person is completely changing. And this is a beautiful thing. And this is what I always like to if I do private sessions, if I do workshops or meditations, right? Yeah. So that's the story. That's the story behind. And the good thing is, of course, and I'm very blessed. I always say, the 17 years I was in the corporate, of course, it's not like you throw that away, right? Those skills and everything you have, I can, of course, use this, of course, in building up this company. And this is an advantage, right? So I know a lot of people who start like with 18 or 20 to become self-employed, right? But they also gonna reach at a certain point. They're gonna reach at a certain point to suddenly have their first employee. Then they suddenly will have reached a point that suddenly they will have a first team. Maybe they're gonna expand and then open a second place. So each time there is this kind of change, there's a challenge, and they need to have a look, how can they conquer this change? The good thing is that, of course, because my history, I had all this kind of changes already. So that means that if now the Golden Space Europe would grow till 150 people, I know how I can handle this, because I did that in the past, right? So everything I learned, and you always need to see that everything you learn each day, it's a blessing, and no one can take that away. No one can take away your skills. No one can take away your thoughts. This is what belongs to you, right?
Very beautifully said. And we have like a lot, we have audience that is echoing to you. True. Love it. And for the right reason. True experience is never wasted because of the lessons and a lot of hardship as well. Florence is saying, yes, it's not waste. Corporate experience prep oneself for own business, and Celine is echoing to it. Couldn't have said it better. I agree as well. Like really because of your corporate experience, and then that's how things have changed, and also it helps you. Plus now you kind of like open up your heart, you're more connected with yourself. That also helped you to shape your current business that is with the Golden Space, which our founder, Golden Space Global founder, who hopped in just now, Master Umesh. Yeah. So all of us kind of went through his signature program, Awaken the Divine You, and we start to see things very differently in a way. It helps us to groom ourselves. But, actually, Pascal, I've prepped the scenario, but somehow you have already answered the scenario. I'm not sure whether you have a different answer to it.
Okay.
Because I prepped the scenario. What can a person do when a person is standing at a crossroad of their own career? So you kind of answer it in a way, like you kind of give us some tips along the way. But if you have anything else that you want to add on.
Yeah, the most important is really follow your heart, right? So because I have a lot of feelings. I've seen a lot of times we are thinking too much, right? We are thinking too much about the consequences of a decision we make. And if you start thinking, you will most probably never take a decision, because you can always find some negative or possible negative things which will happen. At the end, you never know if you haven't tried it. So for me, it's like you feel your heart, right? You can, of course, have a look from, okay, if I go in this direction or that direction, what is positive? What are the positive things? What maybe is not so positive? And then you can look at those two, and then you can make a decision. But if you really feel it from your heart, if you say from, I go for it, then just do it. And don't think about the consequences, because you never can know in forehand anyway. If you have never a team, right? If you never done leadership, you will not know how you will react. So you just need to do, right? And then because you don't experience, because you also don't know what your team is, you don't know how they are, you don't know the motivation of your team. So the first day you will have a group of persons, which each person is completely individual, which is completely has other needs, and you need to have a look, right? What does they need? Yeah. So it's a game, like it's the same if you parent, right? So you cannot know in forehand how your kid will behave, right? It can go in all directions. Yeah, you have babies, they sleep the whole night. You have babies, they wake up the whole night and the whole day. You cannot know in forehand. So at the end, it's like what we said before. It's an experience, and I even know some managers who did it a couple of years and who find it then out that actually the tasks that they need to do most for a manager, it does not fit to them and they don't like it, because they say, I really, really like to be technical, for instance. I really like to always have customer contacts. I really like to program things, whatever what. If you come to this conclusion, and if you know from, okay, actually everything which is beyond, like the whole administrative, the whole conversations with human resources, this is nothing for me, then also it's something good for you, because at least you know. I had the same in the past. I did once a project, and after that I knew, okay, this is I never want to do that in my life again, right? Because for me it was too boring. It was too many rules. I was just like doing the whole day without involving too much my brain. It was not for me, because I like to be creative, right? And sometimes if you're part of a project, everything is fixed and all the rules are fixed, right? So that was that was what I learned. I said from, okay, I had a very nice experience, and I also know I don't want to do projects anymore, right? And this is also fine. Yeah. And then you know. If you don't know, you're always gonna ask yourself, maybe this is something for me. So even if you become then a leader and you say from whatever reasons after a couple of years, this is really not what I would like to do and I want to go back to really technical, for instance, then you can do it. And then you will be much more happier to do this as well, because you know you already were on another level, you tried it out, and you say, no, it's not for me. And the best thing it can happen, of course, if you say, yeah, I really like it, right? So if it is something for you, then you're really happy that you took this chance.
Well, I really love what you say, like following our hearts. And again, this is really a reference for everyone out there. And I picked up something that you said, and I feel it's a very good practice. A lot of times when we want to make any decision, somehow in our own mind, there are a lot of nay sounds, meaning, no, you shouldn't. But what you have said is correct. If you can just write down all your no, and you will realize all your no, it will be grouped into one category. And all your yes, it has a lot of multiple potentials and multiple possibilities. And perhaps for a person who really don't know what is following hearts, don't know what is, connecting with your hearts and follow the voice inside, perhaps this is really one of the good way to know where you should go. Because once we write down all the voices in our mind, we have a clearer picture. And I personally experienced this exercise before, and I find it very, very powerful. And that's how I also realized how my mind have been tricking me in a way, so that I will be safe. In the end, it was just trying to protect me so that I don't do something that will endanger myself. But once we written it down, it gives us a clearer picture. And our comment section has been going like crazy. Experience is blessing. Florence crossroad is scary. Laugh out loud, midlife crisis, boom. And but once we follow our heart, it all goes. Celine, Mr. Pascal is my new favorite guy. 100% resonated. Yeah. And think, then go nowhere. Like what Pascal been saying. If you think, in the end, you are not going to do anything. Right. And but many in my circle of environment say it is impulsive. I think it's a matter of perception. Yeah. And over here also, yes, you are right, Pascal. One can never know the future. Anyway, just do it. It's all for the experience and growth. And yeah, and exactly. I guess everyone has their own self-realization of worth. Not everybody is a leader, right? And yeah, if you realize you are not a leader, and it's okay to say it out that you are not a leader type and you prefer to do something else, like what Pascal have said, right?
I mean, because even there, you also have specialists, right? Like in each company, you have those persons who did that for the last 30, 40 years, who are the experts. And it's also completely correct if you are that person, right? There is nothing wrong with this person. Yeah. So and also management need those, right? Imagine that each year your whole staff is new. It never would work, right? So you need to always have this balance as well as a manager. You need to have experts who are working a long time. You also need to have new people, because if you only have experts, then it's going to be a bit stuck, because you're not so open anymore for new ideas, because everyone says we did that, we tried that, and we stick to
very
what we
comfortable.
Want.
Yeah.
So the ideal situation is to have a mix, right? You have experts and you have new persons who can learn from the expert, who can bring new ideas into the company. And then you also have persons who you know that they're going to grow. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then you know that after 1 or 2 years or 3 years, they're directly going to leave you and become a manager and another level. And it's fine. Yeah. Because it's also, they also should have the chance to grow, right? So you have this mix of those different type, and that's how a company works, right?
And I really like how you have just painted us a picture of, you have a group of experts, you have a group of new teams. And you know what, Pascal, you just made me realize, and that's how life is. We have our own skill and we are very comfortable in our own zone, but we also need to learn new things, right? That's also part of our career. So that's why you encourage us, you have given us quite a few tips that I'm going to just pull it out. I believe the first thing is, you reflected on what you really want, and that's why you make a decision from being employed to self-employed. So to all the audience, if you are at the crossroad, reflect on what you really want in life and why you want what you want. And that is something that Pascal had shared it very beautifully in the middle of our chat. If I missed that, just make sure you can always rewind it back after this live talk has ended. All our video stays available in our Facebook as well as on our YouTube channel. And remember, if you're working in a company setting, speak up and take action. Take some time, initiate a meetup with your superior, with your manager, and ask them, that you want to do something or you have observed something, in a more, I would say, Pascal, you have mentioned it very clearly, that in a more respect manner, not trying to challenge that person that you have done something wrong. But what you have shared just now, I can feel is more of, we are here to discuss. We are here to give you feedback. I'm not here to point out that you have done something wrong, nor I'm not here to say that my way is better than yours, but it's more of a conversation, right? That's what you've been saying. Yeah. Is that correct? Anything you want to add on the speak up?
Yeah, because you said in a company, right? So it's the speak up and take action. It's not only in a company, it's also as a self-employed, because if you meet some people who has network, then again, there you need to speak up and take action, right? You need to ask them, can you please support me? Can you please refer me? Can you please, can I do a podcast with you? Can I do this or that, right? If they don't know, if you're not speaking up, then they're not going to propose from their side. So you can have a look who is important for you to build up the company, and then you actively can approach them, and then you actively can ask questions to them. So this is how it's, I mean, it's the same everywhere, right? If you see beautiful, if you're a man and you see a beautiful woman and you're single and you're never going to take action, never going to speak up, then the chance that you will date this woman will be very low, right? So
it will be zero.
So it applies everywhere, right? It applies in everything you do. Right?
That's a very good metaphor, and I'm sure all our audience will remember this forever. Like, you never speak up to a girl or a guy, you will never get a date. And yes, that's true. It's the same with your career. It's the same with our business as well. And one thing you also share with us, ask your colleagues or your managers for their feedback on your performance or where else you want to be improved. Another thing that you mentioned is be proactive, speak up again, to voice out, to be involved in different projects so that you get more visibility, you get more exposure, and you get more experience, and also different perspective of how a management will run. And of course, last but not least, you have mentioned many times about the networking is very, very important. I believe, Pascal, networking is not just referring when you are self-employed, but network also is equally important when you are working in a company, right?
And you need to feel what fits to you, right? I was not a person who was very convenient on how do you call that, on town hall meetings. So I'm not a person who on a town hall meeting goes to 2 or 3 levels above me and just have like a small talk, because originally I'm like an introvert person, right? So that was not the way I do network. So if that is not the way how you want to do network, then you don't do this, right? Then you find out another way of how you do network. So my networking was a different way. My networking was on 1 or 2 levels above me. That was how I did networking, which was a different approach with some other people are doing. So everyone needs to find out what is the way to do the networking. I mean, if you start to reflect who in the organization has a huge network, has a huge positive that the managers respect this person, then this person is of course an important person to also connect with them, right? If you are not a good networker, but you know someone who is a good networker, then it's fine if you connect with this person and you start to build up the relationship with this person, because then this person can say from, okay, this I want that I put him more in the picture, right? Yeah. But and another thing I also I always say is that because making decisions and everything, you always need to say what is the worst thing what can happen, right? Because a no you have. So if you never speak up, right, the no you already have, it only can become a yes.
Nice. That was a very nice phrase that you just said. But Pascal, before we end, you said just now you are an introvert person. You used to be. And now while you are running, so-called you are self-employed, how did you break through that introvert that you used to have? I believe this might be applicable to a lot of us out here as well.
Well, again, it's I always make a connection what feels good with me, right? If I compare myself to Sylvia, my wife, I will never be like Sylvia, and Sylvia will never be like me. Yeah, she has a complete different approach if she comes to town hall meetings, if she comes to receptions. Her approach is very open, right? She just goes to a person, start joking with this person. This is not how I am, right? So of course I can study some jokes, but it will not work because they will feel.
It's not you.
It's not me, right? So yes. Again, I'm using them more than networking, who goes like more in a longer term. So I'm more a long-term networker person than Sylvia is, for instance, a very short-term networking person, right? You can put her in an elevator, and if it's five floors up, everyone will know her if she wants to, right? So this is a different kind. But again, if you know your strengths are, if you know how you are, then it doesn't matter what kind of characteristics you have. You always can make use of it, and you always can use then the right things, right? Yeah. So I'm still doing a lot of network. I'm in networking groups, and I'm actually networking, but I'm different as someone who is an extrovert person, right? Yeah. And of course, the more you come, you do podcasts, the more you come to town hall meetings, the more you go to receptions, of course, it gets more and more, you get more and more used to it, right?
Yeah, easier.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, we have quite a few bits of comments. Very nice. And then agree. I'm not too sure agree to what, but it popped up. I think it was about networking, power duo. And one start the networking, the other maintains it. Yes, I believe something like that. And Pascal, before we end this, what is the last takeaway for all our audience here when it comes to taking our own career into our own hands? What is your last takeaway to our audience?
Well, the last takeaway, it's about just trust yourself, actually. So a lot of the times we are standing ourselves in the way, and just trust and see life more as a game, see life more as a playground where you can explore, where you can find all your skills or your triggers, and just go and don't think too much, right? Yeah.
Wow. Just go, don't think too much. And that's what Pascal is giving us. And if any one of you wish to connect with Pascal, I believe our admin will also put it up, the link in a link where you can talk to Pascal directly. If you want some session or some clarity, you can also talk to Pascal as well. In the meantime, if you wish to so if you wish to know that whether you are a leadership role person, Pascal has something for you as well, which you need to write to him, and he will share it with you to assess whether you can continue to another level of yours. Very nicely said from Florence. Love it. Thanks, Pascal. And with that, I will say thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And I just want to highlight and remind everyone, Pascal as well, that if you have not signed up for Body Mind Soul magazine or Body Mind Soul community, make sure you can sign it up now. If you wish to have all the positive tips at your fingertips every morning, join Body Mind Soul community, as we actually have all the magazines free for everyone, as well as when you join, you get 3 audio articles that you can listen to anytime. At the same time, you get lots of tips about holistic positive lifestyle, and also a family that really walks the journey of positive holistic lifestyle. With that, I would say goodbye and great afternoon to everyone. Let me see. Okay, let me just pull out a few more comments. I like that. Thank you, Pascal. Thank you, Pascal and Christina. Thank you, everyone. A lot of heart shape. Thank you, Pascal, for joining us early in the morning. Yeah, so that you can have a great morning. Yeah, and also now it's about time for you to, I hope you have had your breakfast. If not, have a great brunch. With that, I would say goodbye, everyone, and we will see you next week, same time. Thank you, Pascal.
Thank you.